You're listening to a podcast from the Finnish Football Show. Yes, it's the Finnish Football Show. I'm Mark Wiltshire, back again with the second episode in this series of Veikkausliiga 2025 preview shows, and we've got 4 more teams coming up for you, listener. So today we're going to hear from a fan of Gnistan, KTP, Inter Turku, and then a couple of familiar Finnish Football Show voices talking about Ilves. Now, the thing is, listener, what we did is I said to everyone, let's try and get 5 to 10 minutes on each team. And Jamie and Rasmus took 5 to 10 minutes to mean 21 minutes. So, not everyone knows how to tell the time. But what they've got to say about Ilves from two fans in Tampere, close to their team, same as all the other contributors to this series, is well worth listening out for. So again, I'll let them introduce themselves, and I'll see you once more at the end.
Hey everybody, I'm Sami Lindfors, and I work in KTP as an SLO for the Supporters Liaison Officer, and of course I'm the fan of KTP for nearly about 18 years ago.
Perfect. Thanks, Sami. Thanks for joining us today. So, KTP, which new players have you signed, and maybe which players have you lost since gaining promotion to the Veikkausliiga?
Well, as always, as when you are a newly promoted team, you always have to have large reconstruction for that. Of course, that is always the thing that you have to do. So we have had quite a lot of players that have left to either other clubs or their loan deals have expired already. And what I really gathered, we have about 16 players already that are left. And I think
16?
16.
Okay. Wow.
16. But I think it's more important to try a little bit of maybe concentrate on the players that are really hurt. Well, you could say that they have some significance all there that could have contributed for this season. Of course, we have to start with Antoni Huttunen, who was voted as the best player in Veikkausliiga last season with 9 goals and 9 assists. He made a decision late November to get signed for IFK Mariehamn, so he will play in that position over there. Then I would say, of course, we cannot not say Johannes Laaksonen or Matias Lindfors, who have contributed for us a long time and have been a great players for that. But unfortunately, both of them had to stop playing professionally because of really incurring injuries and all that. So those were really bad losses for us overall. Of course, you have to say about young players like Aapo Hyppönen, who made a decision to go to SJK, and he will play for the SJK Academia for next season. And it would have been really interesting to see how he could get accustomed for being the third choice for striker. So that, I think those were what you could see had a really contributing factor for it. Of course, Valtteri Vesiaho was a really great center back for us last season, but I don't know what happened, but he did not show that kind of a increase in skills that he had every season he played for us. Then, of course, we have to go with the players that we signed, because we signed a lot. We signed a lot of players that I would like to say. Maybe we can have to start with the first 3 that everybody was talking about as positively. Of course, one of the long-time players in HJK, Atomo Tanaka, who is one of the most talented players that have played in KTP, in the recent history, if ever, that I have seen. He has a really great knowledge of being on the central midfield position and being on the number 10 spot always. and he really keeps the engine going in our team this season. Then second one, of course, the long-time Finnish national team player, Joona Toivio, who after a couple seasons, HJK made a decision to sign with us. And even he is in late stage of career. It's really nice to see that he wants to come with a club with a huge, long history and wants to play a team that has different challenges than with HJK, than challenging for a title. And of course, which came to us a little bit of a surprise signing, of course, Petteri Forssa, a person who is people have really different opinion about him. Some say he's maybe lazy. Some maybe say that he's not really professional. But I see him as really professional and also a really talented player that is giving us a lot of strength for the set pieces and giving a lot of horror in the midfield for any opposition that's coming. Of course, there's a lot of different players, a couple people who have returned to KTP after many years. You should say not maybe many years. Juho Lehtiranta, he was 1 year in Oulu, so he came back for players for the right back position. Then we have let's see who we have here. Of course, Jiri Koski, who played us for Kakkonen a long time, and in Ykkönen, I remember he played season 1 or 2. He didn't. No, Kakkonen. He played Kakkonen for us a long time. So, of course, there's a lot of interesting players, like 18 years old Mitch Claesson, an Aussie striker who came with the Sydney FC connection after Alan Harpers, and he has really shown that he has a really good skills and maybe have some. We'll get some kind of situation in Veikkausliiga that he will contribute for us.
It sounds like you've brought in quite a good combination of experienced players and younger players.
Yeah, I do think so. That we have a really mix of young talents and a lot of experience, and that is going to be a really interesting one. But there's a lot of interesting people, you would say, that are a little bit of question marks. You don't know what they will bring in the whole 2 seasons. But there's a lot of interesting parts. Of course, a young player like Arttu Tulehmo from Ilves. He came for 1 season loan for us. And I have to say, I have never seen in KTP 17 years old player, our own on loan, that plays like that. Plays like an adult player in Veikkausliiga. I have never seen that kind of talent. And I'm really happy to see that.
Were you disappointed to not add one more experienced player with the return of Teemu Pukki to KTP instead of him actually signing for HJK? How did you feel about that?
Yeah, I was not happy. You could say that. That's really saying it diplomatically. I was not really happy on that. But yeah, I was not happy on that. But of course, you have to, after being mad a little bit, you have to say okay, he made his own decisions of his own future. That is with his wife and with his children, of course. So it's really hard to say yes, that was a really bad move for you. But even if I do understand his decision, doesn't mean I have to like that.
Yeah,
and I don't. Even now, I don't like that.
No, absolutely. I won't push you any further on that. I think you've given exactly the answer that one might have expected. So in general, how are you feeling about the changes of the squad? Do you know the strength and just what the new squad, how it looks like it's coming together?
In overall, I do see that it has become much better. It has become like the director of football, of course. Sorry, so sport director maybe the right word for Niko Ikavalko. He said the statement that he will make sure that the only championship for us will be not getting relegated. And I think he has contributed that in a form of a lot of signings that has a lot of experience in Veikkausliiga, but also have experience in other plays or in any other really interesting places, like Frank Eller, who played in Bulgaria. He has not a lot of I think he had a lot of injuries in the preseason, so it's going to be really interesting how he's going to play. Of course, he had in his first game he had a red card, which has become some kind of tradition that when you're a new player over here, you will have the red card in the first game. But like in general, like I can see every season when you are now newly promoted for it, you are going to fight against relegation, and of course that is the major things. But of course, sometimes you have to be realistic and see the squad. Okay, will this squad play against that? And the more I see the games, more have I hear the reports about the games, I really do think that we now have a really good squad to fight for that.
And you must take some kind of encouragement from how Gnistan got on last year, having been the newly promoted side, and how comfortable they found their first season in the Veikkausliiga. That's something to try to follow.
Yeah, but I see that we are following basically their recipe. They have a lot of really players that have a lot of experience, but at the same time they have a lot of young players, a lot of players that maybe don't have experience in Veikkausliiga, but they have experience on any other places, or the scouting has gone so well that they really have the data for that you can see that they have the qualifications to play in Veikkausliiga greatly.
So what are you most excited about for this season?
I'm mostly excited that this season is something that you can, in paper, you can see the teams that could be the last team in the position. But at the same time, maybe that's the only one you can see. That's because now you can see it's really open season now. Even in paper, it's open season that you cannot say, okay, KTP will be over here and Haka will be over here or Gnistan will be over here. Of course, today was it was released the budget that was used for the planes, but at the same time, it's really I'm not seeing anything that shows me that we could not fight against maybe the 6 bottom teams equally. We don't have to. We like there. Of course, we have to be realistic. Against Hoiko, there will be a situation where we'll be playing more defensively. But in other things, I do believe that we will play against with our own play style, and which is really pressing style, really aggressive in the forward pressing, and then we will make a really really fast counterattacks, playing with the wings or playing from the center. So I'm mostly really happy for that we have. It's really open season to who will play for that, and there will be a lot of interesting games.
So what position do you hope that KTP might finish in next season?
Number 9. I think number 9 would be a great. So not getting relegated, of course, is the price for everything, but number 9, number 10, I'm really happy for that.
All right, my name is John Ehrnstén, and I support IF Gnistan.
Okay, John, which new players have you signed and who has left your club in the winter of 2024?
Well, I mean, we haven't really signed too many players. The main guys are pretty much Yevgeny Baskirov from VPS and a new goalie, Alex Kraniks. He's a Belgian guy, and what I can see from the games on the preseason, he's been great. He's been really good. We haven't had too many departures either. Penninkangas and Takamäki from the backfield, they left. Jonas Enkerud, the Norwegian guy, he went to the Faroe Islands. And then we have had a couple of backup guys go to Honka. And our Bosnian player, Tatar, he went back home.
That sounds like quite a lot that have left compared to those that have come in.
Sure, yeah, but I think the main strategy is to kind of make the roster smaller. Last year, we had a lot of players who were left on the bench and didn't really get too much playing time. But that being said, we do still need a deep roster, because when we get to the dog days in July, August, September, we got to have players who we can throw in the mix from the bench.
So do you expect players still to come in before the end of the season or even after the season started?
I think at least after the season starts. In the summer transfer window, I think that we might sign a couple of players. But yeah, I think we still need maybe one or two guys for the defense before the season starts. But when the transfer window opens up, I think there'll be maybe one or two players coming in.
Are you excited for this season?
Oh, yeah, I'm really excited. We're going to head back to Oulunkylä. We don't have to play in Töölö anymore. And just to get back home, that's such a positive thing. Everybody's looking forward to it. And everyone's really excited for this season.
Listeners of the Finnish Football Show will remember that we spoke with Frans Enela from Gnistan last summer around the time of the fire, and that's obviously what you're referring to about going back home. What is the condition of the stadium now? How are things now, half a year later?
Well, I was at the stadium a couple of days ago, and construction is really going on in a great way. The locker rooms are being made, and I'd say in a couple of weeks, we'll be seeing some new stands on top of the locker rooms.
And is this a permanent structure, or is this something temporary until?
It is temporary, yeah, for maybe a few years until the new stadium hopefully gets built. But it is permanent, but also it is temporary. It is, it's really easy to dismantle when if we decide to sell it when the new stadium is being built.
So, how do you think Gnistan are going to get on in the 2025 season?
Oh, well, we have to get better than last year. And I would say that we should be in the top 6.
That's really ballsy. You had a really good season last year. Obviously, the teams that come up are often the ones that people expect will go back down again. And sometimes that happens. You guys defied gravity, and it wasn't lucky either. You deserved to stay up as well as you did.
Yeah, I mean, we did some pretty good transfers in the summer transfer window, and just like we got Tim Väyrynen, Eremenko came in, and he started really playing well after the fire. The American goalie Marcucci, he came in, and he saved us a lot of points. And we just made some good moves during last year, and those moves paid off. And luckily, we have those same players. Well, of course, Marcucci went back to the United States. We couldn't keep him. He was such a phenomenal player, so he went back to New York Red Bull. But basically, the whole base of the team stayed for this season also.
It seems like some of your pre-season shopping was already done during last year, which is why you're so relaxed with the squad that you've got at the moment, give or take, one or two new players.
Oh, absolutely, because we saw that they were quality players, and and since we made longer contracts with them, of course, Eremenko decided to stay with us, but for example, Ojala, Raitala, and well, we got Chronics now, but yeah, Ojala, Raitala, we made multiple year contracts with them. So and we knew that they were good players, so we don't have to stress about that.
Yeah, so there's a nice spine there already in place that you can put one or two newer players build around them.
Absolutely, and someone like Saku Heiskanen, who really had a breakout season last year. I expected him to be good, but I had no idea that he would be that good as he was.
I guess that's a question to ask. Is he the person that we should be keeping an eye out for this year? Or is there someone else you think will stand out in the Gnistan team?
I think maybe we'll see. Maybe Gabriel Europeus. He might be a guy who you should really put on your radar, so to speak.
Brilliant. We'll do that. Is there, before we go, John, is there anything else you'd like to say about Gnistan this year? Anything that we haven't covered in our chat so far?
Well, I talked with the head coach a couple of days ago, and this year, we're going to play explosive football, like really, really football from the hood, so to say. And it's going to be physical. It's going to be fast paced, and it's going to be a real enjoyment for the fans and everybody in the stands. So hey, head over to Oulunkylä and come check us out.
Hi, I'm Jussi. I'm Inter Turku supporter for almost 20 years now.
Wow, thanks for joining us, Jussi. Which new players has Inter signed for the 2025 season, and also who have you lost from last year's squad?
Yeah, thank you very much. Well, mainly we lost Darren Smith and Matias Tamminen, and I know some, actually quite many supporters thought that they were a bit wasteful sometimes and not that big losses, but to be honest, they were the top scorer and top assister last season, so I think it might be hard to replace them. But other than that, we have basically the same core. All the other players are the same in most positions, and this will also probably be one of our biggest strengths for the upcoming season.
Yeah, looking at the Veikkausliiga website and the player transfers page, which is gold at this time of year, trying to follow the Veikkausliiga transfers. It looks like you've had the least amount of changes from last year to this year. Which of the players that are coming in are interesting or most interesting for you so far?
Okay, probably the biggest name is Jasse Tuominen, who everybody knows, who has followed Finnish football. But the only problem is that he's been injured for a long time, and we don't really know his condition at the moment. So if he can stay fit and if he can get back to the same condition he was before, he will be very good for this level. But there's a lot of ifs with him.
Yeah, I remember Jussi when he was playing for the Finland national team, maybe 8-9 years ago, and I thought he looked really exciting back then. He looked quick up front, maybe around the same time that Rasmus Karjalainen was playing for the national team, if I remember correctly, and his name really jumped out when I saw that on the team sheet.
Yeah, and he was the striker who scored goal against Liechtenstein when we went to the Euros.
It's true. Yeah, that's true.
So
Wasn't so
he's
long
been
ago
a
that
really
he was there.
top level striker or forward, however you want to describe him. But the question is, will he stay fit?
I saw Inter play the preseason practice game against Asiko a couple of weeks ago, and the player that really caught my eye was your striker Kwame. Can you tell us a little bit about him?
Yeah, he's probably our most exciting player for this season. So there were rumors that he was almost signed by a Belgian club, but something failed with the transfer, and then he decided to stay with us for one more year. But of course, if he keeps on improving like he has done in the past year or so, I believe there will be a lot of interest for him from clubs in Belgium or Netherlands or even in the top leagues. He's basically more like an attacking midfielder than a striker, but he has scored most of our goals in preseason, and he's really good at passing, quite good at scoring as well, and he's really like an all-around attacking midfield player.
Yeah, I think your whole forward line that started that game looked really lively as well. It was a really good game. It just helped me to feel more excited for this upcoming season. What about you? What are you excited for? What are you expecting?
Well, I'm expecting our defense and midfield will be good, but to be honest, I'm a bit afraid that it might be the same as last season, that we will create chances, but there's nobody to convert them. Like we have Jean Botouet as a forward, but last season he was really wasteful, and I think there's potential in him. He can improve, but he hasn't proven it yet. And then, of course, Kouame will get chances, but I still think he will play more as a midfielder, and he's there to create chances for others. Then we have Jussi Tuominen, like we just talked. We don't know his condition, so I think we will do well, but it depends really on the forwards, how clinical they can be on if he can fight for the top 3, top 4 positions.
I think there's a lot of clubs thinking they might be fighting for those places 3 to 6 this year.
Yeah, probably almost every club.
They all at this time they certainly think so. One or two fans of the smaller or the promoted clubs are sort of aiming for 8th to 10th position. But I think a lot of those from who had a decent season last year are hoping to push into the top half. There's only so many places to go around.
Yeah.
So Veikkausliiga, you're in that position as well, hoping for sort of 3, 4, 5, something like that. What about Suomen Cup? How important is that to Inter Turku as a club?
Well, I think it's really important, and we've actually been in the final for so many times. We've won it twice as well, but I still think it's like the easiest way to Europe for a club like Inter. So last year it was really close. Like we were leading 1-0 against KuPS in the second half, and Jean Botouet had a really good chance to score 2-0. But then in the end we lost the match. But I think a club like Inter, we have to focus on Suomen Cup.
Yeah, I agree. Is there anything else that you want to say about FC Inter Turku for the 2025 season? Anything else that people might be interested to know or that's important for the club?
Yeah, there was actually just yesterday there was a big news about this Belgian club called Zulte Waregem. I'm not sure if I can pronounce it correctly. That they will start like cooperation with Inter, and actually we have one player from their club already on loan for this season. Well, to be honest, he hasn't shown anything yet during the preseason, but this might be interesting, and like it could open maybe a way to Europe, to Belgium, for our biggest talents.
Interesting stuff. That's something that we need to keep our eyes on as the season progresses. Jussi, thanks for speaking with us today. Good luck to Turku for the
Thank you very
upcoming
much.
season.
Thank you.
Okay, yes, Jamie and Rasmus here to give a preview on Ilves for the upcoming Veikkausliiga season. How are you doing, Rasmus?
Yeah, I'm fine, thanks. Really looking forward to the start of the season. It's only a week away now, and last week I was watching the Ilves, the latest practice match, a friendly against KTP, and Ilves was really bad, and KTP was actually decent in that game, and the good old Petteri Forsell coming back to Veikkausliiga, and lots of experienced guys for KTP as well, a few interesting young players. So that was a decent match to watch, but really looking forward to the real thing coming back soon, and been doing lots of preview episode for my own podcast as well. So yeah, pumped up.
Yeah, you're far more of an in-depth fan than me. Once the Veikkausliiga stopped, I'd not paid too much attention to the games other than the Liga Cup games. What happened in the Liga Cup semi-final? I was thinking that could be a early piece of silverware for the season, but that four goals against Inter, what happened in that game?
That was actually a one I didn't get to watch because I was actually playing in the Suomen Cup on the same day myself, so I missed that one. What I heard from friends who were there, they told that it was a weird one. It was sort of like the KTP match a week ago, that Ilves played half decent, and anytime they had an attack or a chance, then straight away at the other end, the other team would go on and score. The goals were a bit out of context, and individual mistakes. An awful one from, I think he was captain on the day, Tatu Miettunen, made one of his traditional lapses in concentration, and a bad back pass that led to, I think it was Inter's first goal. But yeah, that was a really bad game, and hope it doesn't come a pattern performances like that. Obviously, it's still preseason, and when I saw them a week ago, it was the international break, so a few of the young players that were with the under-21s national team were away, so we didn't have exactly our best squad that day. So not too bummed out about a couple of bad performances in preseason. I think it might be good to get those out of the way, and there's a really big one on the opening day against HJK.
Okay, and before we go into Ilves' season, was your Suomen Cup result more positive than Ilves in the Liga Cup?
Not really. I think it was the heaviest defeat I've ever been on the wrong end of in all my days playing football, pretty much all my life. We lost 15-0, and I came out of the pitch at halftime. We were only 6-0 down at that point. I actually had a decent chance to score a free kick from about 18 yards against a goalkeeper that played in the World Cup 10 years ago, or a bit over, in 2014. A guy who played for Cameroon's national team. He was in goal for the other side. So I don't know what he was doing. He set up a terrible wall and left like all of the other side of the goal open, and I missed it by I think a yard over the crossbar. I just should have like chipped it because the wall was so terrible. But yeah, I was bummed out I didn't score the free kick, but yeah, it was fun, although we got beat pretty bad.
Well, there's always next year.
Yeah.
Always next year. Okay, on to Ilves. So yeah, since the end of the season, there's been a bit of coming and going in terms of some players leaving, some players joining. Would you be able to summarize what's been happening there and what new players we've got and how you think they'll fit into the team?
Yeah, the new players that have been coming in are mostly Finnish players with decent experience and lots of room to develop even further. Other than Sauli Väisänen, who's obviously a really experienced Finnish player coming back from abroad after spending many years in the second tier in Italy, for example. He's obviously a big name arrival, but a necessary one, as we lost Juhani Pikkarainen, who was probably the best centre back in the league. So, and also made it to the national team. He moved to Sweden, so Väisänen is the replacement for him. And I think we are changing a bit of the profile of the players, because obviously the Portuguese left back Jorginho also left after last season. He moved to a side in Prague, I think the third side in the capital of Czech Republic, and he's now playing over there. So we replaced him with Matias Rale, who came from Lithuania. He already made his Veikkausliiga debut for Honka a few years back. I think he actually was the Honka captain as a really young player when Ilves faced Honka in the Suomen Cup final a couple of years back. And he's replacement for Jorginho on paper, but he's entirely a different profile of fullback. I think he's way more defensive, balanced in his play, not that adventurous and skillful and explosive as the Portuguese fellow was, but a bit of a different profile in there. And I think I will have to go back to last season for the biggest departure, because when Santeri Haarala left in the middle of the season, or in the summer after the European qualifiers, he left, and I think that showed at the end of the season. We were still able to pick up the wins most of the time, but the star quality, the X factor in a player who can, in the final third, beat his opponents, create chances, score goals from outside of the box sometimes, and so on. I think we don't have anybody close to what Haarala was last season. That might be a bit of a problem. But in the attacking department, we brought back a guy who's Ilves prodigy, Teemu Hytönen, who had a decent season for BPS last season. Yeah. And of course, the big one is losing Doni Arifi on a free transfer to KuPS. And he hasn't been directly replaced either, but there's maybe a few young ones coming in from the academy, and Felipe Aspegren might play in the midfield once again. He's been doing that before also, but okay. Yeah, that's pretty much it. There's a few others, but we can go through them later.
Yeah, I think also the star quality of Haarala leaving, but also if I think to last season, and there was Santeri Haarala and Doni Arifi and Jorginho, three big noticeable characters that made an impact and made a difference. It'll be interesting to see how some of the younger people and some of the replacements can step up. So interested to hear also that Aspegren can play in midfield. That's good to hear, because it seems to me at least the midfield could be a bit of a weak spot potentially.
Yeah.
Moving on.
One more arrival is an interesting one. A Brazilian fellow called David Oliveira Silva. He came from KTP. He played in Ykkönen last year, but it was his first year in Europe altogether. He came from Brazil. I think he played in like the third tier in Brazil, but he's a young player. No, I think a bit over 20 years old. So what I've seen from 22-year-old Brazilian center back, can play also as a right back, I think, maybe even in defensive midfield, but technically seems really neat. When I've seen him in preseason, I think he doesn't have any problems playing at Veikkausliiga level, especially with the ball. He's not in a rush. He can do the little feints and fakes as a center back, go through one man, pass it with both feet. I think he's an interesting one and maybe can pick up a decent role in the side.
Yeah, interesting to hear about him. Also, I noticed there was a new goalkeeper that's on the squad list. Faris Krakalic from he's a Bosnian registered with Bosnia and Herzegovina, but actually played for Dynamo Zagreb, I guess, as their second choice goalkeeper, but played a few games for them. Do you know anything about him at all? Will he be our second choice keeper?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he's going to be the second choice keeper behind Otso Virtanen. Otso is the captain of the team and really established goalkeeper in the Veikkausliiga. I think he still is the second best keeper in the league behind Kupsis Kreidel, but Otso is a decent keeper, but he had a few injury problems last season, and we really didn't have a backup. We had to get almost like an emergency backup in Ville Seppä last year. So I think we're trying to avoid that, and by signing a young keeper with decent experience from a really good level in Dinamo Zagreb, and making his debut over there must mean that he's a really promising young goalkeeper. I've seen him a couple of times in preseason. He seems okay, but those have been difficult games from the point of view of the goalkeeper, because the defense and pretty much the whole team hasn't helped him out that much in those games where he's conceded loads of goals or too many goals maybe, but I think he's a good addition, because if Virtanen suffers from injuries, especially in the summer when we play the European qualifiers, it's really good to have a decent backup.
Agreed. Yeah, interesting to see how he gets on. So thanks for the summary on the new joiners, and sad to see some of the leavers go as well. But moving on to the season overall, what are you most excited about, Rasmus, for the season?
It's a difficult one, because I think the expectations have went up from last year, because the last year was so good in terms of performance, and maybe overachieving a bit, going for the title until the last game of the season. It was maybe a bit unexpected, doing well in Europe. The whole thing of the new stadium and the sort of momentum that carried the team on last year, that was spectacular. But I think it's going to be a bit hard to replicate this season, because we've lost many key players and replaced them with good young players who have room to grow, but there's kind of many question marks about can they really do that. So my expectations as in terms of like the league title aren't that great. I'd say we do well to achieve a similar amount of points as we did last year. I think that would be okay, and it would pretty much, I think it would guarantee a top 3 finish, which would guarantee European qualifiers for the next season. So that's the minimum goal, I think. Then also we have to do better in the Suomen Cup, and the final is played in Tammela anyway, so that would be really good to get to the final, and obviously then we need to get the good European spot as we did now 2 years in a row. So that would be really, really important. But I I'm looking forward to seeing the team play football. I think in terms of football, we might develop this season, but it's hard to be consistent in terms of winning every week when your squad is so young and maybe a bit unexperienced in terms of like winning the title.
Yeah, I agree with you. I'm looking forward to a year of continued development in terms of how the football's being played. It seems a long time ago now, but thinking back a few years ago to how the football was at Ratina, the standard wasn't great. There was really poor games, and actually, I almost couldn't believe it last year. Some games when the ball was being knocked around really well, the team were playing well, and it was just like a completely different team in terms of the football. And even though we've lost some key players, I'm hoping for that to continue. But now to stick a number on it, I'm going to commit you to a number. Where you said where you'd like us to finish in the league, top three. Where do you think it will be? What's your prediction?
That's a tough one, but I'm gonna go in terms of the title race. That of course HJK is the strong favorites, and the fact that they've almost had 2 preseasons. When the other teams finished their season, they continued on with the European football, and they did a lot of work even before Christmas in terms of increasing their running capacity, and now they've had a whole preseason, strengthened their staff with Mika Nuutinen, etc. So I think HJK is going to do 2.5 points per match on average. They have a good chance of doing that, is what I'm saying. And if they do it, there's no title race. Nobody else can keep up with that pace. If it's going to be like last year, that 2 points average per game is going to take you to first, second, or third, then I think it's going to be the same again, that us, KuPS, and HJK is going to be a 3-team race again. But I'm leaning more towards HJK being really strong, and us and KuPS fighting it out for the second place. And I'm going to go a bit pessimistic here. I'm saying we're going to finish third.
Okay, I'm actually with you. I was thinking third or fourth. I think just lost too many key players, and I haven't seen much of the new ones in pre-season to be and Liga Cup to be able to make a judgment on how good they are. So I'm going for third as well. Suomen Cup, are we home winners?
That would be great, but last year we went out at the first try against Marks and others as JK. So hoping to do a lot better this time around.
Yeah, as long as it's not like 2 or 3 years ago when we went out to our second team. That's
yeah.
That would be an improvement. Yeah, hard to make a judgment on what happens with the cup. It depends on the draw and everything related to that. But it would be amazing to make the final. And finally, Europe. What's your prediction on that? Again, a lot of unknowns. We don't know who it's going to be. But what do you think?
I think obviously we have nothing to lose, and we go straight into the second qualification round of the Conference League as KuPS won the double. So we get, as the team that finished second, we get the European place of the cup winner that comes down to us. So we go straight to the second round, which means, again, as we did last year, we get more money, and maybe the opponent is a bit harder in the second round than it would be in the first round. I think it's all about the draw. What team are we going to get? Last year we performed amazingly against good sides, Austria Vienna. I think it was a bit down to them being at the start of their preseason and us being in the full swing of our season. And then against Djurgården at home, we were really good, and away, the reality struck into our faces a little bit. So just go out there, play football, enjoy the occasion. It's going to be amazing for the fans to play in Europe. Just hoping for a decent draw and good times. Yeah,
agreed. Those 2 home games were amazing last season. And just in terms of the quality, I think Djurgården are still in the tournament, right, at the quarter-final stage, I think. So, yeah, amazing to have those. home results against those. But I think that's everything. Anything else to add for the season?
I can pick out a couple of players to watch during the season. In midfield, we're going to see hopefully a lot of a really young kid, 16-year-old Otto Tiitinen, Ilves Academy player. Played some games last year for the second team, but he's now gone almost straight to the first team, which obviously says a lot about his potential. So he might be the Matias Siltanen of this year, and if he gets a decent run out, there might be that he's going to go straight to abroad in pretty quickly. So he's a really young player to watch. Then Oiva Jukkola and Vincent Ulundu has a lot to do filling the boots of Santeri Haarala and scoring goals, creating chances, doing assists, and so on. The onus is really much on them. I think in attack, Roope Riski and Teemu Hytönen, and of course the cult hero that is Adeleke Akinyemi from his few appearances last season. Those three are going to be okay. I think all of them have a chance of scoring close to 10 goals a season. So that would be decent return. And if we can do it like last year, that Riski plays pretty much the important games and comes from the bench to score. So that's going to be it. Those are maybe the things I'd look out for.
Great. Well, really excited to hear and see the young 16-year-old in our midfield. So hopefully we can speak about him in some upcoming pods. But for now, I think that's everything. Looking forward to the season, and we'll be in speaking about Ilves together in an upcoming pod soon.
Yeah, thanks.
Okay, thanks then to John from Gnistan, Sami from KTP, Jamie and Rasmus from Ilves, and Jussi from Inter. Some of you may remember Jussi taking part in the show a few years ago, so it's always nice to have people returning to the pod, and hopefully we'll be able to hear from him and some of these other fans during the season. It would be nice to go back and sort of hear how things are going, and maybe test how well their predictions came true as well. There will be one more episode, the final episode in this series, coming in a couple of days' time. So, listener, until next episode, thanks for listening. Goodbye. You've been listening to the Finnish Football Show. You can find us online at finishfootballshow.com. Remember to subscribe to the show wherever you're listening or watching. You can follow the Finnish Football Show page and group on Facebook and also on Instagram. Escape to Suomi on Twitter is now Finnish Football Show on X. And you will find us on Blue Sky at Finnish Football Pod. See the links in the episode description, along with the links to the Finnish Football Show merch stores.